begin, if you want to see me and a bunch of other YouTubers live on stage, you gotta come to Andy King's Happy Hour on September 25th. The show's at City Winery in New York City featuring Andy King, of course, Gunner TV, Chris James, Pinely, Funky Frogbait, and myself. So grab your tickets at the link below. Or else. Hi sinners, for better or worse, I've been making YouTube videos since 2014.
I'm literally so awkward. Anyways.
But it wasn't until almost 5 years ago that I became the niche internet micro-celebrity you all know and love. And if I've learned anything in my time as a content creator or a niche internet micro-celebrity like we established, being labeled cringe is a fate worse than death. I'd argue that being considered cringy is more damaging to your image long-term than being considered problematic. But if you're lucky, you'll wind up like Dream, who has the pleasure of being both. And why is that? Because shame is more effective than outrage. While brutal, the backlash usually dies down as quickly as it started. Either because we all have the attention spans of goldfish now, or because a different influencer comes along and does something even worse, which seems to be happening more and more. And even if it doesn't, most creators have core audiences that'll forgive, ignore, or even justify their bad behavior. If anything, being canceled can even work in their favor. I mean, how many times have we seen a problematic creator capitalize on their quote-unquote cancellation? And why do you guys eat it up every single friggin' time? Ooh, sorry for cursing. I get so heated sometimes. On the contrary, being called cringe is the internet's version of the cheese touch. The only difference is you can absolve yourself of the cheese touch. Because once people deem you you are cringe and cringe is you from now until the end of time. What is cringe though? Will we ever really know? Cringe is subjective, but it comes in two forms. The first being self-cringe, aka how I feel every time I see a video or audio recording of myself from high school.
Anyways.
Then there's secondhand embarrassment or vicarious embarrassment. It's what you feel when a speaker fumbles during their speech or when a man chases a ping pong ball. The latter is the type of cringe you'll experience most on social media. Some would say it's a form of empathy because you're feeling the embarrassment on someone else's behalf. But empathy is the last thing you'll receive on the internet. Not only are people less forgiving of quote-unquote cringy behavior online, some almost treat it like it's a crime. You're put on trial, the internet's the judge, and you're sentenced to a lifetime of harassment and shame, with no parole. Most of us would call this cyberbullying, which is nothing new. Obviously. Anonymous users have been telling people to kill themselves since the MySpace days at the very least. But in recent years, cyberbullying got a facelift and is now called cringe culture. Did Emily Osment teach us nothing? However, the idea that cringe culture is dead has become more widespread online, though there are still plenty of people dedicated to keeping it alive. Either way, cringe culture has claimed far too many innocent victims, and I feel like nothing highlights this better than the cautionary tale of Jake Novak.
Could be bouncing out on Broadway, but I'm running for 30 Rock, so I can hand deliver you the next in a box. Not literally, obviously. I really want to give you the next big thing. Oh God.
For what it's worth, he's got a great voice. I looked at some of his old stuff. He's really talented.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you.
And I already know he can hit the hell out of that high note in Santa Fe. Jake Novak was a millennial with a camera and a dream to be the next
SNL cast member.
Many would call this goofy little jingle cringe. Many did call it cringe, among some other not so nice things. We'll get into that. But Jake would call this Another Wednesday. Back in 2022, Jake was dedicated to posting an original song every single week.
See, weekly music videos are my jam, bruh.
Jake's original music is reminiscent of a much simpler time. A time when infinity scarves and man buns were all the rage. A time when you could still share your Netflix password. A time when J.K. Rowling was still somewhat normal. And Jake is like if Lin-Manuel Miranda left Vine to make Instagram sketch comedy. And I say that affectionately.
This song goes out to my fellow millennials. I just want you all to know you just lost the game. Oh yeah, you did. You just lost the game. Ha ha.
I was was born in 1998, so I'm a zillennial, as some would say. And I was in high school during the prime of millennial humor. I was there when people were playing with sand, #JustGirlyThings, and when One Direction Twitter was begging Zayn to stop smoking. I was there, man. So the girls who get it, and these TikTok youngins couldn't keep up with Mr. Novak. Anyway, up until the incident, Jake was posting consistently, and quite a few of his TikToks went viral, particularly his open verse challenge videos. I was stalking Jake's social media throughout the creation of this video, and I came across his song titled I Wanna Get Cancelled from November 2021.
I wanna get cancelled, then everyone will know my name. I wanna get cancelled, say something bad and take all the blame. I can't get noticed for my talents. I might have better luck with malice. Cancelled, it's my one-way ticket to fame.
And in a TikTok comment under the music video in March 2022, Tony said, I'm calling it now. 2022 is the year this guy gets noticed, does a few talk shows and plays a few of his songs, and gets speaking roles on TV sitcoms. To which Jake replied, thank you, here's hoping. Little did he know. And little do we know that we have a word from today's sponsor. Before we continue, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat is a plant-based meat brand dedicated to making tasty food that's both good for us and the planet. Like many of you, I used to think Beyond Meat was just pumped with random chemicals. Turns out, their products are made with simple ingredients, like rice, peas, and avocado oil. The process is similar to how pasta is made. And I've been loving Beyond Meat's Beyond Burger, which uses non-GMO ingredients and avocado oil for healthy fats. Plus, each burger is 21 grams of protein, and as we know, these gains won't maintain themselves. With no cholesterol, antibiotics, or hormones, the Beyond Burger is a healthy and delicious swap I'm more than happy to add to my meal rotation. If you'd like to learn more about how Beyond Meat is made, scan this QR code right here or click the link in my description. And thank you so much to Beyond Meat for supporting the channel. Now let's get back to your scheduled programming. And on June 15th, 2022, Jake proudly proclaimed to the world through song and dance that he wanted to be the next
SNL cast member.
He made this song in response to the news that 4 members of SNL would not be returning for season 48.
Hi, Lorne Michaels, I'm Jake Novak, and I know that you're feeling the heat because your roster lost Kate, Kyle, 80, and Pete. That means you got an open seat, and I feel I ought to be feeling it, because when it comes to comedy songs, I kinda been killing it. I'm a rapid rhyming hammy nerd like Lin-Manuel Miranda mixed with Sammy Berg, but haven't you heard, I'm more than a rapper. I'm an actor too, so here's a couple of nice guys getting their jackets. After you, after you, after you, after you, after you.
Based on what we've seen of Jake so far, the SNL song was par for the course for him. Hamilton light, a little corny, but endearingly millennial. So to say Jake was taken aback when he garnered tens of thousands of comments and millions of views overnight would be an understatement. Some of the comments were supportive. Now, they were few and far between, but they were there. However, the majority of them were calling Jake unfunny and cringe, saying his comedy was super outdated, and a lot of them were especially cruel. It's almost impossible to sort through TikTok comments, so I'm gonna read some of the comments under Jake's YouTube video to give you an idea of how mean people were. You're perfect for SNL, derogatory. It's honestly sad that you don't have any friends in your life who care about you enough to stop you from doing this. You exist as the primordial example of everything I should strive in my life to avoid ever being anything like. Theater dorks never learn. This guy reminds me of my friend Egg. How did that one get in there? And apparently, someone tagged Leslie Jones under Jake's TikTok and she replied with a facepalm emoji. All of this was in response to a tongue-in-cheek, slightly self-indulgent song about wanting to be on SNL. Welcome to musical theater. I don't know what to tell you. Is it your first day here? Personally, I thought the song was charming. I also grew up doing theater, and guys like Jake Novak were a dime a dozen, so I think I'm just desensitized. You can take the kid out of the theater, but you can't take the theater out of the kid. And like I keep saying, the girls who get it, get it. I get you, Jake. I know you. And like it or not, this would have gotten him on Ellen 10 years ago. But you'd think, based on how harsh these comments were, that Jake lit a puppy on fire or something. Now imagine what I just read times 20,000, plus all the duets and stitches making fun of him, and the thousands of comments under those videos. However, if there's one thing Jake deserved the heat for, it's this.
Land of the free, home of the brave, land of the AR-15, home of kids in the grave. I've struggled to find the words, keep the disposition sunny. I'm always trying to turn the unfunny things funny, but laughing feels wrong. Hypocrisy's rife, I gotta say something, cause you're all pro-life unless it's taken by a children dying in the school. But can you tell me why?
Bad Gun, an American Rap was written and posted after the Uvalde school shooting. Critics felt like his song was tasteless and insensitive towards the victims and their families. And unfortunately, I can't defend Jake on this one. What the f were you doing, dude? Now, I'm sure his heart was in the right place, and I agree with the message. But if my hypothetical child was a victim, the last thing I'd want to see is some guy coming online, reheating Lin-Manuel Miranda's nachos, hitting falsettos, and rapping about my kid and their classmates being gunned down. That deserves criticism. Was the vitriol Jake received completely out of control? Absolutely. Mocking him on TikTok and YouTube wasn't enough, though. It never is. People were flooding his business email with even more hateful messages. Some pretended to be Lorne Michaels offering him a spot on SNL. Jake and his loved ones also received countless death threats. I'm glad we're not overreacting. It got so bad that Jake had to take down the contact page off his website, which I'm sure affected future business and acting opportunities. Just a lot of dogpiling for, quite frankly, zero f***ing reason. Yet, this wasn't enough either. As he gained more and more attention, users were digging up some of Jake's old content to continue making fun of him. And after going through his tagged photos on Instagram, people figured out that he was a Dapper Dan at Disneyland. For context, the Dapper Dans are a barbershop quartet that perform around the park. So with this new knowledge, people went out of their way to find Jake at Disneyland and record him while he was on the clock. In a vacuum, there's nothing wrong with recording the performers at Disneyland. Plus, when you think of how many people visit Disneyland every year, it's not impossible to believe that some parkgoers ran into Jake by chance. What makes it really weird is that people hunted Jake down at his job and filmed him as sort of a gotcha moment, all because he had the nerve to post a slightly cringy video on TikTok. At this point, you're probably wondering, what did Jake have to say all about this? That's what he said. He literally said nothing. Viewers took note of his absence and started speculating on where he went. Some people begged for him to come back, while others assumed he took his own life because of all the hate. Hashtag RIP Jake Novak was even trending for a bit. But then, about 2 months later, Vulture published an interview with Jake Novak titled "The Cringe King of TikTok 7 weeks later." The writer, Jason P. Frank, asked Jake about the aftermath of going viral overnight. Admittedly, I'm not as intimately aware of some of the details of where this has spun off to on TikTok just for my own mental health. I have friends who have kept track of it, and they have said in no uncertain terms that it is not a place I should go. That things are being said about me are really nasty and twisted and weird and just conspiratorial in nature. Apparently, there's a lot of conspiracy theories because I haven't posted any videos or really anything on social media at all since the video came out. I'm in a very distrustful relationship with the internet right now, so anything that's coming my way or to the direction of people that I know, I'm just choosing to not engage with. There's even been some scares in terms of the kinds of messages that people in my life have received that seem to indicate that some harm might have been done to me, which caused some very serious, I guess not repercussions yet, but it has caused serious emotional distress for not just me, but for my friends and coworkers who had nothing to do with any of this. It's prompted the start of investigations about who these people are that are sending these kinds of messages, so it has gone very far, and much to my continual surprise, it seems to just keep going. When speaking with a friend, Jake was advised to not post so soon after the SNL incident because viewers would only continue dogpiling. Then the interview asked Jake about how the backlash affected his job at Disneyland. What is unusual is that I've sort of come to a less trustful place. I think in the past, I was reasonably sure that anyone who was taking a video was doing so purely out of a place like, they're on vacation, they're having a good time, they want to remember this nice thing that they saw and enjoyed. Now I look at everyone with a phone as I'm singing and doing my job, and I'm just not sure what they're going to do with that. And ultimately, I do not have control over that. It has definitely created a bit more anxiety in my working day of just not knowing what people's intentions are toward me. And if anything that I might do or say on a given day, just in the course of my job, might end up on the internet and repurposed out of context. When asked whether or not he'd return to TikTok, Jake said he wanted to, but I really don't have an issue if people don't like the stuff that I do. Of course, I would like it if people like the stuff that I do, but I understand not everything is for everybody. I made a thing that you thought sucked. Don't come after me in my real life. Just leave me alone. There's a reason why you can just scroll. You just teach the algorithm that you don't want to see that anymore, and then you don't have to see it anymore. Jake disappeared again until he published his op-ed with CNN on March 8th, 2023, and it was about how cyberbullying has affected him. His main point was that social media platforms need to get better at protecting their creators from harassment. TikTok's community guidelines pledge intolerance for users being shamed, bullied, or harassed, acknowledging that such content can cause severe psychological distress. The platform claims to take down videos for harassment, many before they're even reported, and that is a good start. Some harassing comments and videos about me have indeed been removed in recent months, but that wasn't before they got to me, and potentially influenced the creation of other harassing comments and videos. Some sites reportedly utilize a form of shadow banning when the reach of a post is inhibited for community violations, but the practice is famously opaque and algorithms can misinterpret allowed content as verboten. Companies like Meta, parent of Facebook, and Instagram employ scores of human moderators who screen content around the clock. Yet the moderators say they have made judgment mistakes due to confusing and constantly changing policies. Twitter's Trust and Safety Council, which advised on issues including suicide prevention and mental health, was disbanded late last year. It doesn't take much to understand why stories like mine, and many far more heartbreaking, pervade the online zeitgeist. On the 1-year anniversary of the SNL video, Jake broke his silence and came back to TikTok with a message. And a beard.
You made very clear that you didn't want to hear from me anymore, or even for me to exist. And for a long time, I've really struggled with how to come back from that. You know, like what song could I sing that would make you change your mind about me? But I don't even know if that's possible at this point. So I'm just gonna say what I have to say. No song and dance, just me being honest with you. So here goes. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
And then we got these fake-ass viewers completely changing their tune in the comments. The people making fun of him last year were now in the comments saying, "Come back, Jake, we miss you, the internet needs you." As if they weren't the ones who drove him off in the first place. You're the reason why Jake still fears for his safety. Perhaps the post-cringe clarity hit them. In an interview from August 2023, Jake told GQ that he was still quote-unquote on lockdown. To this day, he masks in public, not just because he's concerned about COVID-19, but to hide his face. He created dummy email addresses to sign up for things and uses fake names at restaurants. There's no way of knowing if the barista making his coffee recognizes him from TikTok and will give him a hard time or turn their camera on him. And as of now, August 2025, the last we heard from Jake was in January, right before the supposed TikTok ban. When every influencer was posting their last will and testament the day before, that was so dramatic, y'all. Thankfully, Jake seemed more relaxed, more level-headed in this video. Circumstances aside, I hope 2 years offline did him some good.
I've been trying to figure out, like, the exact perfect thing to say. And the crazy thing is, I think I have it, but I just can't share it yet. And that means I'm not going to get to on here. Which kind of feels wrong, honestly. Like, if there's any place that I should get to talk about what happened to me on TikTok, it's TikTok, but people got other plans, so I will have things to share, and I'm very excited about them, and I look forward to getting to put them in front of you just on different platforms.
I'm excited for Jake's comeback, if it does happen, of course. He should only return to social media on his own terms. I just hope the internet is nicer to him next time. Another awfully similar controversy took place just weeks before the SNL song's 1-year anniversary. However, instead of Jake Novak, public enemy number 1 was now the aspiring J-pop girl group Sorbet.
1, 2, so sweet! Hello, we are Sorbet! We are an idol group based in California, and today we wanted to teach you guys our call and responses!
On May 25th, 2023, Sorbet announced that they'd be making their debut at Anime Riverside, and the members wanted to introduce themselves before their first performance. The member in green's name is Alice, and the member in red's name is Ash. But our focus will primarily be on the group's leader, Berry.
Hello everyone, my name is Barry, and I'm the leader and pink member of Sorbet. So I'm going to teach you my call and response. So I start out by saying strawberry, and then you repeat back blueberry. And when I ask who's everyone's sweet idol, you're going to say Betty-chan. Are you ready? Strawberry, blueberry. みんなの甘いアイドルは Betty-chan. Hi, Betty desu.
The original TikTok gained 5 million views overnight and has since been taken down. But based on the comments under a re-upload I found, Sorbet was definitely not welcome with open arms. I'm not surprised because Japanese pop culture enthusiasts are a common target for online harassment and cringe culture. If you took a shot every time an anime fan or cosplayer was in a cringe compilation, you would need your stomach pumped on the spot. The first wave of backlash was from people accusing Sorbet of cultural appropriation because none of the members are Japanese and 2 of the members are white. Apparently, comments under the original video were asking quote-unquote what kind of Asian Ash is, but Berry was definitely ganged up on the most. Users mercilessly made fun of Berry's hair. They joked that she was balding or wearing clip-on bangs. Alice and Ash also received a lot of flack, but a lot of people also came to their defense because it seemed like Berry was holding them there against their will, like she was pointing a gun at them behind the camera. Besides the hair, critics also teased Berry for her mannerisms and the way she pronounced certain words like strawberry and blueberry.
Strawberry, blueberry, Betty-chan.
And this led to people calling her Berry-chan in a derogatory way. It's giving schoolyard bullying on a macro scale. Many big creators also called out Sorbet for Americanizing J-pop. However, it seems like a lot of people were looking at Sorbet through the lens of K-pop as opposed to J-pop. Kaigai, aka American J-pop idols, are accepted by both American and Japanese J-pop fans. Though I must acknowledge the fact that it's very common for non-Japanese people, white people, mostly, we can be real, do co-opt Japanese culture. And by co-opt, I mean non-Japanese fans stereotyping Japanese people with the way they dress and speak. And these people are called weeaboos.
Huh?
Hello. Did I really say weeaboos? Hey lady, where your boobs at? Weeaboos, or weebs for short. If you need an example of Americans Americanizing Japanese culture, just take a look at Gwen Stefani in the early 2000s. In 2004, she released an album called Love Angel Music Baby, and it came under a lot of scrutiny, with critics accusing Gwen Stefani of fetishizing the Harajuku style. If hiring 4 Japanese backup dancers to be your quote-unquote Harajuku girls for your tour isn't fetishizing Japanese culture, I don't know what is. Gwen launched her Harajuku Lovers clothing line in 2005 and sold her Japanese-inspired streetwear and accessories at all her shows. She also won the Fragrance Foundation's Fragrance of the Year award in 2009, what a mouthful, for her fragrance line designed after her and her quote-unquote Harajuku girls. And if you want to say, that was 20 years ago, she's grown, she's changed. Here's a direct quote from a 2023 interview with Allure. That was my Japanese influence, and that was a culture that was so rich with tradition, yet so futuristic with so much attention to art and detail and discipline, and it was fascinating to me, she said, explaining how her father, who is Italian-American, would return with stories of street performers cosplaying Elvis and stylish women with colorful hair. Then as an adult, she was able to travel to Harajuku to see them herself. I said, my God, I'm Japanese and I didn't know it. As those words seemed to hang in the air between us, she continued, I am, you know. She is! She then explained that there is quote-unquote innocence to her relationship with Japanese culture, referring to herself as a super fan. There's being a fan and then there's being a culture vulture. Gwen Stefani is about as Japanese as Ollie London is Korean. But let me tell you, no culture was safe from Gwen Stefani. Back in the 90s, Gwen's signature style was wearing both a bindi and bantu knots. But if you asked Gwen about it, she viewed wearing a bindi as a cultural exchange between her and her former bandmate and ex-boyfriend, Tony Kanal. So what's her explanation for the cornrows? Gwen Stefani walked so that Trisha Paytas could run. Back to Sorbet now. They decided to postpone their debut because all 3 members were doxxed within 48 hours of that video going live. Why is that the norm? The price you pay to being annoying to some people nowadays is getting your address leaked, apparently. That's a fair trade. that punishment fits the crime, obviously. Berry posted her own apology video for her call and response and acknowledged her white privilege. She explained that she pronounced certain words by their katakana or phonetic Japanese characters because she wants to release music exclusively in Japanese going forward. Berry also claimed that her boyfriend at the time, who is Japanese, was the one who actually came up with her call and response. I'm not Japanese, so my thoughts on Berry's apology don't mean shit. I'll let you weigh in on that down below. What I can say is that no one deserves to be bullied and doxxed like Sorbet was. Then on July 23rd, 2023, the group officially announced their disbandment. We're sad to announce that Sorbet will be disbanding. We want to clarify that it is not due to turmoil between members. The three of us are all still friends who care about each other. The reason behind our disbandment is the whole situation taking a huge toll on all of our physical and mental health. The three of us were doxxed, threatened, and people interfered with all of our personal lives. So even though we all wanted to see Sorbet through and achieve our idol dreams together as a trio, we all thought it would be for the best if we dissolved the group. We hope that you will continue to support us in our individual endeavors. You may see us perform together or do collabs together in the future, as we are still friends, but Sorbet as a group will unfortunately be coming to an end. The silver lining in all of this, I guess, is that this didn't discourage Berry from pursuing a solo career in music. She has since released her first single and music video. Berry also still performs at events and conventions to this very day with very firm boundaries. She only wants people to address her as Berry if they're not speaking Japanese. She doesn't take selfies or videos with anyone on their phones, but she does offer Polaroids, and she will not tolerate disrespect or uncomfortable questions. In a later TikTok, Berry addressed accusations of Asian fishing and fetishizing Japanese culture.
And before you ask what my apology video was for, I am not sorry for correctly speaking a language that I am learning, but what I was and am still sorry for is my demeanor in that video being seen as trying to be that stereotype of Asian girls. It was not my intention, but my best friend who is Asian has spoken to me about the implications, and I am genuinely sorry for that.
While more people were coming around to Berry, she still was getting harassed and doxxed as of March 2024.
I just need to speak my truth because, you know, it's been almost a year since the Sorbet situation, and I'm still being repeatedly doxxed, stalked, threatened, harassed, and bullied. I am just so sick and tired of being painted as this world-class supervillain, and if you don't believe me and don't think it's that bad, here's some examples of me being compared to Hitler, Charles Manson, and a murderer.
We have a visitor, it seems. Hello. Sorry. Bro, your ass is in frame. Neither Jake nor Berry are perfect victims. They're both a part of groups, theater kids and cosplayers, that are automatically associated with cringe online. And they messed up a bit along the way. But nothing can justify the insane amount of harassment and bullying they endured. In my opinion, I think a lot of the backlash towards them also came from the fact that our generation stigmatizes trying. Like, a lot of us are obsessed with wanting to come across as nonchalant as possible, if that makes sense. Because if you're trying too hard, you're a pick-me, you're weird, you're cringe. You can like stuff, but not too much. You can tell Jake put effort into his song. You could tell Berry was trying to get Sorbet off the ground, and people didn't know what to do with that. So when Jake and Berry committed the mortal sin of being passionate about their interests online, unironically, they were punished. We're trying now? What the fuck is going on? Not that there weren't some valid critiques mixed in, but a lot of the harassment, I think, came from the fact that they tried. The clean girl aesthetic is a really good example of the not trying phenomenon. These influencers want to appear as if they woke up looking that put together. Hashtag they woke up like this. When really, it takes a lot of effort to make something seem effortless. It takes a lot of time and effort and energy to perfect the clean girl makeup and slick back bun, to curate the ideal clean girl wardrobe. Okay, maybe not like a lot of time, all right, I'm being dramatic, but you know what I mean. There's also the rise of the irony epidemic that I think contributes to this, because no one takes things seriously anymore. Everyone wants to be the funniest person in the room. No one wants to be the thought daughter anymore. Do you know how many times I've looked up the movie I just watched on Letterboxd to see what other people are saying about it, only to be met with a bunch of witty one-liner reviews with thousands of likes? They're funny. Don't get me wrong, I've left a couple one or two witty one-liners. They make me do a little, but then you gotta scroll a little bit to get to any sincere or thoughtful review. It's like that tweet, you're so funny, bro, now say something true and beautiful. We've rebranded Sincerity as Cringe, and I'm tired of it. I mentioned earlier that there are a lot of people online who believe that cringe culture is dying, but are we ready for a post-cringe world yet? I'm not so sure. Anyway, to be cringe is to be free. None of us are real, and I'm going to be the next
SNL cast member.
Thanks to Beyond Meat for sponsoring. Thank you to my little sweeties, my little small beans for watching today's video. Sorry.
And every subscription counts. And it would be really awesome if you did subscribe. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'll see you soon. Bye. Don't let the door hit you.